Okay, so this is Mr. Great bringing you the most excellent Arduino tutorial here in Mr. Great Tech Review Studio, bringing technology to your doorstep. On our tutorial, on this tutorial number 23, we are going to read numbers from the serial monitors. We are going to read numbers from the serial monitor. This is how to read numbers from the serial monitors. You ask, you wait, then you read. These are the three guiding principles guiding how to read numbers from the serial monitor. First of all, you ask. Then when you ask, then you wait for it. And when you wait for it, then you read. So, if you ask read, the computer is so fast that if you don't have to put a hanging program with your while loop serial.available in parentheses equals 0, you have a problem on how you can because you can't see. So the essence of hanging a program, putting a delay in your serial monitor, is for you to give you time, to give the computer time for you to read, for you to see what you are reading. If you don't put a delay program on reading, you will have a problem to read. You will ask, maybe you ask, you find out that it will act read. So it will be so fast that you cannot see. So the user interface, we are just going to create something like a user interface whereby you input a number in the serial monitor and the computer gives you that number you put in the serial monitor. Like for example, please enter your number, then you enter number, you say your number is 5, your number is 4. So it's all about understanding how to read numbers from the serial monitor, understanding how to read numbers from serial monitor. So we are going to do a lot of we're going to do about 3 practicals, and one is going to be hardware based and the other one is going to be software based. The other 2 is going to be software based. So the one that is going to be hardware based is where you have your most excellent Arduino Uno with this, and I think I don't need this potentiometer. I don't need the potentiometer, so I have to pull it out and put my potentiometer. Okay, so what I just need is only this, only the LED, the resistor and the jumper linking them. So I think I have to pick it up so that you see this is exactly what we just need for the practical. I need only the LED, the resistor, and the 2 jumper, the ground and the positive jumpers. So we are going to hook them up on our practical, hardware based practical. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so let's dive in and see how we can do that with our most excellent IDE, where we have an opportunity to code. Okay, so that is it. And most especially, I still have this. Every program, every tutorial, I will still bring it up and say, you must get this. You must get this. For your tutorial to be complete, you must work with this starter kit. Time will come when we'll be getting components from it, and if you don't have it, you'll be lagging behind. So do yourself a favor by getting this the most complete starter kit. If you go to AliExpress, you see a lot of them. So you see a lot of them. The most complete starter kits around $40, $45, $50 depending on the type. So do yourself and get it so that you can flow along with me and you will not lag behind. Okay, so that is it for this one. And okay, so let's go in and see what we can do for today. Today is gonna be very short. I'm not going to load you with a lot of codes. We are going to see the code for printing, for asking, for waiting, and also for reading. So all of them, we are going to dive into the IDE to see how we can do that. Okay, so let's go in and see. So now with me here, I have my, okay, I have 3 practicals here, 3 codes here in my IDE. The first, this one here, is whereby let's go and see, it's a string. Okay, so now so let's go. Now you have a string Now in this one, what do we want to achieve here? What do we want to achieve in this place? So what we want to achieve is that we want a situation whereby we want a situation whereby we put a number in the serial monitor, and the serial monitor gives us that number. For example, it said, please enter your number, and then we enter the number, which is this. We enter a number which I will not declare, because it's not a constant, so I'm not gonna declare it. I can decide to put a 5, 4, 55, 6. So it's not constant. It's a number that is varying. It's a varying number, so I will not declare it. So I'll call it my number. And this is the second message, which is string. This is variable for string. This string is variable for what? For alphabet. When you want to write in alphabetical order, when you want to write, please enter my number. When the B is a boy, you use a string. When you want to write a integer, you use an int. I think this is not coming out very well. You use an int to write for the integer. You use an int. Okay, so that is it. Okay, now that is it. So when you want to for integers, you use int. For floating numbers, in between numbers, I've said this before in our previous tutorial when we treated variables. I made mention of all these variables that I used here. So let's look at these variables. I use string for writing messages, alphabets, and use strings for numbers. That is whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 23, whole numbers, no decimal points. I use what? Integer, int. Then for that, these are integer numbers, you use int. Then for floating numbers like 2.5, 2.6, 3 point something, 1 point something, you use float. We'll also see all of them here. Okay, so now that is it for that. And I think I'm getting sound. Okay, say yes, I'm getting sound. Okay, so that is it, and that is how we. Okay, so let's go and see. And I've said, what do we want to achieve with this code, this bunch of code? What are we going to achieve? It's very simple. Mind you, whatever you are doing in serial monitor, before you can upload your program, you must hook up your Arduino. Whether you put anything here, whether you hook up a hardware, LED or sensor, anything, before you can be able to open your serial monitor, for your serial monitor to work, you must hook up what? Your Arduino. So I hook it up so that you can be able to upload. My Arduino is hooked up. Okay, so now on the so let's start. Like I told you, please enter your number. I want to interface with something like HMI based interface. I want a situation whereby my serial monitor asks me a question, please enter my number. Then I enter the number and my serial monitor gives me the result. So that is it. So how to read from the serial monitor, reading numbers from the serial monitor, understanding how you can read from serial monitor. Okay, so let's go. Now, string, please enter your message. This is my message 1. I said int, I have my number. This is my number, which I have told you, it can be 45, it can be 1, it can be 2. You will not understand it until I finish it. You will understand. Just pay close attention. Okay, so string, message 2, your number is, this is when I've entered my number, then it will now, the serial monitor will now tell me your number is. Remember, see how this code starts. Inverted comma opens. Please enter your number. You have to put what? Colon. You have to put colon, and even if I don't put colon, it's still going to work. Inverted comma close, and you put what? Semicolon. So this is colon, this is semicolon. So that is how to use the string. That's how to put this variable together. And we have int my number, the semicolon, string, message number 2. I said your number is the same thing, colon, inverted comma, closes, semicolon. Okay, so that is it. And the voice setup serial.begin, we have to open our serial monitor, switch it on. Serial.begin, switch your serial monitor on, put it on. So I use a baud rate of 96100. 96100, this is my baud rate of 96100. Okay, so now 96100. Okay, so and void loop. In void loop, I would say, like I told you, you have to do what? You have to ask. You wait and you read. And the variable for asking, I want to ask. That means I want to ask the serial monitor print in line serial.print in line message number 1, which is this message. So I say serial.print in line message semicolon. Then I have to wait. In waiting, I have to use a while loop. So this code is for waiting. On your serial monitor, on your serial port, to hang the serial port, to hang it just like a delay. It is not a delay. If you put a delay, what will actually happen is that after maybe you put a 2 seconds delay, after 2 seconds delay, it will still ask you again, what is your number? Please enter your number. It will still ask you, please enter your number. We'll do all of that here. We'll do all those practical. If you don't use this while loop, what you always see is please enter your word. After maybe if you put a, let me say I put a, let's say I put a 3 seconds delay. After 3 seconds, say please enter your number. Please enter your number. Please enter your number. Please enter your number. But once you put this variable, I mean this code, this while loop, what you see is going to hang. Please enter your number, and you wait until you enter that number. Then it's going to give you what? It's going to read the number and gives you the what? The result of the number you have you have entered. Okay, so that is it. That's why we are using this while serial.available in parentheses equal 0 parentheses closes parentheses open and close equal 0 parentheses closes. And because it's a while loop, you put the open and close word glory. Now you have ask, you have wait. With this what? With this code. This is code for waiting, and this is code for what? For action. Now we are going to now read. What are you going to read? You are going to read the number you have added. This number, this number, this number, this number is what you are going to read. Okay, now I've exited the while loop command. In this parentheses, this open and close glory covers the while loop, this while loop. Now I've exited, I'm out of the while loop. Then I say my number serial.pause int. This code again, I've introduced with serial.available parentheses open and close equal 0. This one is for what? This one is for waiting. Then this one is for what? For reading. Now to read the number now. I say I want to read my number. It says serial.what? Serial.pause what? Int. Because this my number is an integer, so I use pause int. If I use a floating number, I will use pause float. Serial.pause float parentheses open and close inverted comma. Parentheses open and close semicolon. Okay. Now I have read. Now for me to see what I'm reading, I have to what? I have to print it out. When you read, you print it out. So I have to print it out, and serial.print what? Print in line. Serial.print message number 2. What is message number 2? It has to print your number is. So because this is user interface, the person interfacing with the HMI does not understand programming language. It has nothing to do with the programming language. So it is you that will program the computer in such a way that a user, a novice, can also interact with it. So you have to put the answer, the question, and the answer in such a way that the user interface will also be able to interact with what? The HMI. which is your serial your serial monitor. Now your serial monitor is acting as an HMI, human machine interface. Now you said serial.print. I'm printing now message number 2, which message number 2 is what? Your number is this. So serial.print in line my number. So I have to print your number is, and also print that number. Now I have to also read that number. My serial port has to read it. My serial monitor, my serial port has to read the number. So for me to read the number, the computer will read the number, then will give me out what? The results. So it has to print your number is, and your number is 43. That 43, it has to print it. If the 43 is my number, I have to do serial.print line 43. So that is it. Now let's go to the serial monitor so that you see all these things. I open my serial monitor. Sorry, I will download. Sorry, that's another section. I will download this, upload this. Sorry. Okay, I'm good to go. Happy green bar shows that I'm good to go. Then I have to go out of this place so that you can see. And okay, so now, so let's open the serial monitor. Okay, now the serial monitor is here. Can you see what is going on here? Please enter your number. Please enter your number, and let me, okay, so please enter your number. So now I have what? You see what is going on? This is the first message, and this is on your void loop. You say what? Print serial.print in line message, and which is what? This message. So it will just print it. So you say, please enter your number. So the same thing, you see, it repeats the same thing. Please enter your number. Colon. Please enter your number. Now I'm going to enter my number, which is this. This is this. This number is this one now. So I'm going to enter my number. So let me enter my number. I say 44. Then it has to wait until I did what, until it has to wait. It has to wait. Look at it. Look at it here. It has to wait. That's my void loop. Okay, my void loop. It has to wait. Serial.print in line. So while loop serial.available in parentheses open and close equal 0. This is a hanging program. To hang it, to wait until I click what? Enter. Since I've entered it, after 44. Enter 44, I have to what? Click it. I have to enter 44. Okay, so enter. Your number is what? 44. Please enter your number. So now you see your number is what? 44, which is this. Now I've asked, please enter your number. I've entered my number here. And I've waited. So I've asked serial.print line message, please enter your number. I've waited. It's waiting until I entered 44. Then serial.pause int, because it has to read. Now it reads the 44 as I enter 44, and what? Immediately I enter, I put enter, it will read the 44 and gives me what? Serial.print message 2 and serial.print in line my number. So two of them it will give me at the center. Look at it. This one is this message number 2. Then 44 is what? Print in line my number. Okay, now you say, it's supposed to be serial.print. Okay, let's go serial.print. Let's see how it looks. Okay, now let's upload. Let's upload. Okay. Please enter your number. Now I enter my number 44. 44. Oh, your number is 44. Please enter your number again. So there is no gap for the word for the second message again. So there is no what? It's is not in line. So now it's at the same horizontal, it still asks you please enter your number. So that is why the reason why your last serial.print has to be serial.print in line for the next message to do or to appear under it. So that is why we use this last one, serial.print, and make it serial.print in line main number, because it's the last message, so that the other upper one will appear again. So that is it. So that this one, serial.print message will also appear under it. So we'll do it serial.print in line. So you say print ln, so that it will give a line for this upper message to also to come under it. So that is it, print in line. So okay, let's go again and see it. Okay, now let's clear it. Okay, good. Let's clear and see. Okay, you can see it now. Please what? Enter your message. Please enter your message. So I said my message is what? 44. Okay, 22. Now it will say your number is what? Is 22. So this is it. Now some people are saying, why can't we use delay, normal delay, to hang this program? Okay, let's put a delay. I will not introduce a variable. I will just put the delay. I will cut and remove it. I'll remove this one. I will just put a delay. I say delay. I put delay 3,000 and okay, let's do 5,000. Let's do 3,000. Okay, I put 3,000 and let's see how it goes with this. Okay, so let's upload. You don't want to use a while loop to hang your program. Mind you, the while loop is hanging, it's not delaying. It's just to hang to receive information. It's waiting. It's not delaying, it's waiting. Okay. Okay, now let's see how it goes. Please enter your number. After 3 seconds, if say your number is 0, please enter your number. Because it didn't, your number is 0. Please enter your number. You can see. You see the difference between this delay and the while loop hanging program. You see it? So it will continue to go like this. Please enter your number. Your number is 0. Please enter your number. Okay, good. Let's go back to where we are coming from. Okay, a while loop is back. A hanging program to wait. You ask, you wait, and you read. Now let's go again. Let's upload. Good. Please enter your number. You can see. You can see it. Please enter your number. So it's now waiting for you to do what? To enter your number. So it will wait until you enter your number. If you don't enter your number, it's not going to wait. Until you enter your number, it will continue to wait. So it's human-machine interface is interactive. It's like an interactive. You are interacting with what? Your computer, your machine. Okay, so that is it. So now you have learned how you can read numbers from the serial port, serial monitor, and 3 principles are guiding this program. You have to ask. You have to ask computer what you want. You have to ask computer, and you have to wait, and you have to do what? You read. You ask, you wait, you read. So that is it. You ask, you wait, and you read. 3 things are involved. You ask, you wait, and you read. That is it. Okay, so now let's go back and see how other programs and see other practicals. Okay, so now that is it for this one. And then by the time we do other ones, now we can now see We can now understand it better. So this is practical number 1. So let's move to practical number 2. I think everything has been explained here. Let's move to practical number 2. And okay. On practical number 2, I have to do something on the okay. Let me. On practical number 2, I have to do something, and this one is it's like I want to hook up a LED, light emitting diode. In this light emitting diode, I have to blink it the number of times I want to blink it, depending on the number I am going to put in the serial monitor. So I will ask how many blinks, that is what my message. My number 1 message will be how many blinks. Then I will put maybe 4 blinks. I will put 4 and it will blink my LED 4 times. So that is it. It will blink my LED 4 times. And this is my LED. This is my light emitting diode. I'll ask how many times, and it's going to blink it the number of times I will put in the serial monitor. So that is it. So that is how this one is going to look like. And you know, I told you my LED, I'm using the red LED, the 470 ohms the 470 ohms resistor, the white jumper, and the violet and the jumper for my ground. So I'm going to hook up this on the ground, and I'm going to hook up this on pin number what? Pin number 8. I choose to use pin number 8 because I like to use pin number 8 for this tutorial. Okay, now let's go ahead and see how we can do this program and see how we can do this practicals. Like I told you, this time around, formally we normally use the delay. We say, and the blink, the LED, we are going to put a delay whereby the LED blinks maybe 5 times and goes off and comes back again. In our Morse code, remember, in our Morse code where we have the date, date, it continues to run. It continues to run. It has no stopping. It has no starting. So in this time around, you are in control of your what? Of your destiny. You are in control of your destiny. You are now going to put a figure inside the serial monitor and ask the serial port to blink. Ask the Arduino to blink the LED the number of times you want it, and after that it will stop until you give it a command again. It's like interfacing. You are now interfacing. HMI, human machine interface, is now HMI based. You are now controlling your blinking. It's not like looping again, looping continuous, until you switch it off or until you reset again, you start again. No, this time around it has to wait. It's okay, blink 5 times, it blinks 5 times. Jack, like robotics. Okay, like a robot. So that is it. So this is how this one is going to work. So I want you to understand the difference in the other previous practicals we have been doing and this particular one. Understanding how you can read from your what? From your serial monitor, from your serial port. Understanding how you can read numbers. You read numbers from your what? From your serial port. How you can use your serial port to control your what? Your hardware. So that is it. So you have to understand it. Like I told you, now you have to ask. You have to wait. Then you have to read. You ask. If you don't wait, it will run so fast that you will not understand what you are seeing in your serial monitor, because it's called monitor because you monitor your program from the monitor. So if you can't see, you can't be able to control. You will not have your destiny in your hands. So the waiting there is very, very important. And in waiting, you have to use a hanging program. You don't have to use a delay program. You have to use a hanging program, not a delay program. Okay, so you see the difference between a hanging program and a delay a delay program, a delay command. It's the difference. The while serial dot available parenthesis open and close, equal 0. That is it. Okay, now let's go to the system so that we can see how we can do that. Okay, now let's go. Okay, so now I told you I will use red pin, and red pin is equals to 8. This is my red pin, my red LED. I'll hook it up in pin 8 via the through the resistor, and through the jumper it goes to pin 8. Through this jumper it goes to the pin 8 of the of Arduino. It goes to pin 8. It will connect it to pin 8. This is pin 8. This is my pin 8. I'll connect it to my pin 8. Okay, so that is it. So now I'll write the program. After writing the program, after we have seen the program, then we do the hardware connection. This hardware connection, then we can now play the program and see what we can get. So I said, how many blinks? How many blinks? It's like a, okay, I have to remove this, put a question mark, because I'm asking it a question. How many blinks do you want? How many blinks do you want? So that is it. So, and this is where this is your message, and that is the only message you have in this place. Okay, so let's go. How many? Okay, so it's like a question mark. How many blinks? Okay, so that is it. And how many blinks do I want in this stuff? Okay, so it will be determined by what? By the number blinks, by this int non-blinks. So I've asked a question, and the question is waiting for what? For non-blinks to what? To execute. I put non-blinks, then I click enter, so it will give me the number of blinks that is inside this place. So this non-blinks is actually the number I'm going to put inside the serial monitor. So like I told you, I'm not going to declare it because I have series of numbers I'm going to put. I'm not going to come out here and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. So it's my HMI, my serial monitor is going to determine what number I put in the serial monitor is going to determine how many blinks the LED is going to blink, how many times the LED is going to blink. So I said red pin, like I said, the integer red pin is equals to what? 8. I'm using pin 8, and red pin is what? LED red, and is 8. I'm using pin 8. Then the 8 number of blinks, non-blinks, I'm not gonna declare it. String message, how many blinks? How many blinks? So it's asking me how many blinks do you want? Okay, how many blinks do you want? Okay, let me say, do you want? Do you? Right? Oh, you. Sorry. Why? Oh, do you want? Want. Okay. How many blinks do you want? Okay, very good. Now. Okay, so then 8. Blinking time, because it's going to blink, and I have to put a delay for what? This is not waiting, this is not waiting, this is a delay in between the blinks. So if I wanted to blink in between the blinks, I wanted to blink 500 milliseconds. That is half of a second in between the first blink and the second blink and the fourth and the third blink. I have to put it here. This is so the blink time, this is BT. The blink time, I'll call it blink time BT, equals to what? Equals to 500. Then I'm going to use what? I'm going to use for loop. This is my for loop, which I'm going to use for my what? For my blinking. My for loop is what I'm going to use for my what? For my blinking. I told you I use for link for my blinking so that it will be easy for me. I can still use normal delay to blink off and on, using a delay program to blink it, but the for loop makes it easier for us. You remember when we did the for loop, it's very easy for us to use for loop to do what? Our blinking program. Okay, so now, so I use J, which is what? It's my variable for counting variable, my counter, my J for counter in the what? In the for loop. In this for loop, I use J, so that is it. Okay, so now let's start. Serial.begin 9600. I open my serial monitor. 9600. I open my serial monitor. Okay, so serial.begin. I open my serial monitor 9600. Pin mode. Red pin is what? It's output. Red pin, is it output? Yes, red pin is output. Red pin is output because it's going to write high and low to the what? To the red pin. So it's output. So red pin output. That is the end of my story on the void what? Void setup. Then I come to the void loop. I say serial.print in line. I'm asking now, print in line. This message now, how many red blanks do you want? I ask, this is it. So I said, print this message, print my accent. How many red blanks do you want? This is where the program begins. Run the void loop. It will say, how many blinks do you want? Which is this message? How many blinks do you want? Okay, now the message is very, very clear. Now I will now put in my serial monitor this num blinks. I'll put my num blinks here. I said I want 4. Now, okay. So as he asked me, he's waiting for me to put what? To put 4. This is num blinks. He's waiting this one to go to 4. And not only going to 4, when it goes to 4, you must click enter before it can see it. That is 4. Now it will now what? It will now read it. So he has to wait. When he asks this question, serial.print in line this message, how many blanks do you want? Now he has to wait. Like I told you, the hanging program for waiting is what? Serial.available in parentheses equals 0. Making it equals 0 is hanging it. Hanging the program. Like in the first practical, you saw when I deleted it, I used what? A delay program. At the end of the day, it still asks again. It still asks again. It still asks again. It's not all that interactive. It still asks again. It still asks again. Even when you don't want it to ask again, it continue to ask. It continue to ask. It's like bothering you, pestering you. So we use this hanging program to ask for once, and he waits until he gets a reward, he gets an answer, then he will ask again. Okay, so that is it. Now, he said, okay, now we have to read. He has asked, you have wait, now you have to read. And num blinks is equals to serial.pause what? Pause int. So now, this variable, like I told you, this command, like I told you, serial.print int pause int, serial.pause int is for reading. We're reading what? Num blinks. The number of blinks you want is now going to read it and gives out through what? Through the LED. Not through the serial monitor again. Through the LED. The LED now serves as what? As your interface where you see your program. You are now seeing it in the physical world. You are now seeing the LED blinking the number of times you put in what? In the HMI. Maybe this LED might be a machine that you want to control. Now when you come to the HMI, you put the number of program you want, how do you want the machine to run. And now you click enter and the machine starts running. So this is your LED. We are simulating. I want you to understand that. We are simulating the real world, the actions you take in the real world. Okay, now that is it. Now you see your LED blinking. This LED, you see it blinking. You see? So that is it. Okay, so now we are going to do what? We are going to read. So just like I said, num blinks is equals to serial.pause int parentheses open and close inverted semicolon. Okay, now you are going to read now the number of blinks you want the LED, the serial monitor, the serial port to blink the LEDs, the number of times you want the serial monitor to blink the LED. Okay, now you want the Arduino to blink the LED. So okay, so now let's go and write our program. Now num blinks is equals to serial.pause int. Now for loop, because all of them, this for loop, now you have to include what? Now you have you want to read now. You're going to read what? The num blinks. Now this num blinks has to be, you have to put it into condition. There is a condition guiding this num blinks because it's reading num blinks for you, number of blinks in your in your variables, you didn't declare it. Okay, so the non-blinks, now you didn't declare it. You are going to put a figure inside the serial monitor. Outside that, you are going to write a program, a condition that will guide what? The non-blinks. So this non-blinks has to be inside the for loop. So now you create a for loop guiding this non-blinks. So j equals to 1, like I've explained when we did our for loop command, how we got all those things. So this is the start of the program. As long as this condition is true, this program will continue to run, and this is what the increment. This is the increment. You keep on adding 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Continue as far as this one is what is true. As long as this one is true, you keep on incrementing by 1. So until this one becomes false, it will stop. It will start again. So that is it. So j is what? Is less than or equals to what? This non-blinks. And j is equals to j plus 1. And j is 1. J plus 1, 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 plus 1, 4. If you put 4, when it gets to 4, it add another 1, 5, it is not going to work again. It will start from 4 again. Continue to blink. So number of blinks, remember, you are in control of your destiny now with this program, with this one, Surya.available. It has to wait when you put, it has to execute and also wait again. So it's not going to continue again. So this one will also control it, we hang it again. So after the end of the program, this is gonna hang it again and wait for you to what? To put another word, another figure. So in for loop, it will just continue. Immediately it reaches the end, it continue again. It reaches, it continue again. But this time around, it will just bring the number of times you want it, and this one will hang it again. This one we hang it again. So this one we hang it again. This while loop, we're going to hang it again until you give it another command. So this is how it goes. Okay, now I have to put a delay program in between the blinking. There's a delay in between. It's not just going to blink without what? Without delay. There's a delay. We say digital write red pin. After this, okay, sorry, you have to make turn the red pin high. All of them is a digital write red pin what? High. So inside the for loop, this is it. This is condition binding the for loop. This open query, the query binding the for loop. So inside this for loop, you have what? Digital write red pin high. On this condition, red pin high. This condition, as far as this condition is true, red pin becomes high. Whenever this condition is what? It's false. What? Or whatever this condition in the for loop, this is a conditional statement in this for loop. Whenever it's false, digital write red pin what? Low. Red pin will become what? Low. Becomes what? Low. So, and this is it, and this is the end of it. This is the end of the what? This is the end of the ray. This is the end of the tray. So now it's very simple. I don't want to confuse you. Get the message very clear. You ask, you wait, you read. Now we have ask. This is where we ask. Print. Serial.print in line. Message. What is the message? How many blinks do you want? And how many blinks do you want is machine interface. You have to put it. Number of non-blinks. This is non-blinks. This is a variable. Then I put the non-blinks. When he asks me, he has to wait. Then I put the non-blinks. This is non-blinks. Serial.pause in. So it has to read it. The machine has to read it. The machine has to read it. So if I didn't put enter, it has to read it. When it reads it gives me what? It gives me the result. And it has to what? It has to give me the result through what? The LED. Through the what? Through the interface. It's not going to give me the result again. So I'm not going to come here and say serial print line message. This serial print again. No, I'm not going to print again because I'm not reading it from the serial monitor. I'm reading it from the physical, from the word, from the real word, from the physical interface, from the LED I have here. So this one acts as my serial monitor where I read it. So from here is where I read from. I see what I'm reading. So I'm not seeing what I'm reading. In the first one, we are seeing what we are reading from what? We are reading figures, we are reading numbers, and we are seeing that numbers from what? From the serial monitor. Now, we have asked, we have wait inside the serial port, inside the serial monitor. Now we are going to read, and when we read, we are going to see the results here. Good. So let's go ahead and hook it up. Okay, so now this one goes to pin 8. I use pin 8, and this one goes to what? To ground. I use what? I use ground. Okay, very good. Now let's upload this program and see how it goes. Okay, now we upload. Okay, shows that our program is right. It's right. Okay, now let's open our serial monitor. How many blinks do you want? Let's go down. How many blinks do you want? How many blinks do you want? So I want 4 blinks. Okay, so now I'll put 4. I'll put 4. Then I'll go and hit what? Send or enter. I can hit send. I can hit send. 1. 2. 3. 4. And that is the end of the story. So you see now, it is 4 times. It will not ask you again, how many blinks do you want? You see it? Now let's go again. Let's reduce it and reduce it by 500 so that it will be a little bit very fast. Let's upload again. Now how many blinks do you want? Now I'm going to put 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Do not ask me, how many blinks do you want again? How many blinks do you want? So I'll put what? 10. So I'll click enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very simple. How many blinks do you want? Now we are in control of our destiny. Okay, so good and fine. Now you have seen how we use this word, this program. You can see now, this is our second practical. Now our last practical, with this last one, I believe you understand it. We are going to calculate the power in a circuit. Inside this place is going to be a software base. It's not going to be a hardware base again, and we are going to bring up this. We are going to bring this one. We're going to bring this one now. In this place, I have float. Then P equals what? Equals IV. P equals what? IV. I have to declare all my variables. The P, the I, the V. So that is it. It's very simple. Let me just get this one out of the way and show you something. It's the formula for power is equals to what? Equals to P equals what? IV. That is equals to I times what? Voltage. That is what? Power. So now there are things I have to put inside the IDE. So this is P, and this is what we are looking for. This is what we are looking for, and we have this. The situation whereby voltage is what? Is 12. You have voltage is 12. Is 12, and you have current is 4. What? You multiply. You multiply 4 times 12. You have what? 48. I think I'm correct. So 4 times 12 is what? 48. So that is it. So we have to put some figures inside the IDE and one will leave one, will put one in what? In the serial monitor. A situation whereby the voltage is what? Is 12. And we are looking for what? We are looking for the power. And we have a 12 volt system where you have a 12 volts in the system, and you jungle the current, you put the current, different current, to see what you will have in what? In the power. To get your power, you have to what? Put your current. Now let's see. Okay, let's go and see so that you understand this message. Okay, sorry, I have a float. I have string, two string. Okay, let me bring it up and okay, so it's correct now. Let me give a space here so that, okay, very good. Now, so these are my variables. From this up here is my variable. So these are my variables, and I have my string. My first message is what? Message, which is number 1. What is the power in the circuit? Okay, now the power in the circuit, which is message 2. The power in the circuit is what? Is what? The power in the circuit is, once you have what? A current of what? A current of what? A current of a current of whatever you want. And let me not confuse you. Let me just give you an example of what I mean by this. We want to calculate the power, and we have a voltage, and we have what? A current inside the serial monitor. So immediately we are going to read what? The current, so that we can get what? We can get what? The power. Since the voltage has already been declared in what? In the float, in our inside the IDE, inside the coding, as what? As 12 volt. This is a 12 volt system. Whatever volt the powers, the circuit has a 12 volt, is a 12 volt circuit, and we want to get what? We want to get the power with the current inside the what? Inside the serial monitor. Now we are going to, first of all, we have to string message is equals to what is the what is the power in the circuit. The power in the circuit is, which is message 2. So let's go serial.begin. Serial.begin, that is 600. I open my serial monitor, I switch it on with this baud rate. Now serial.println message number 1. Serial.println message number 1. What is message number 1? Message number 1 is what is the power in the circuit. Okay, now introduce a while loop to hang your program. You have what? Asked, you have waited, you use serial.available parentheses equals 0, closes, and the glory open and close. Now I equals what? Serial.pause float, because we are going to print what? We are going to ask. We have asked, we are going to read. What are we going to read? We are going to read I input. We are going to give it a current for us to do what? To read the power. So we are going to give it what? A current, and the current we are giving it, and this is the current. So, and your current is what? This is current. Current is equals to serial.pause flow. So this is what you are going to give to the system. You are going to give to the serial monitor for it to give you a power. So once the system is a 12 volt system, now you are looking for power. Now you want to apply a current of what? A current of you're applying a current of maybe 4 volts, 4 amps current. You want to get the power inside a 12 volts what? System, electrical system. So that is it. So this is the current. So let's use can we use I? We use it as I as current. So let's do current. Let's use current. And okay, since it's a calculation, okay, current and okay, let's use current. Okay, now we are going to change all of them to current. Wherever you see I, you put what? Current. Okay, current times what? Voltage, and V is what? As our voltage. Okay, so float is current because it's gonna be it's a floating number. It can be 4.5, 4.6, 2.5, 2.5, 2.7, depending on the thing. Okay, so current equals what serial. So we are going to read the current from what the serial monitor for us to get what? For us to get what? The power. Because the message is what? What is the power in the circuit? The current, the power in the circuit is this. It's 2 watts, it's 3 watts, it's 5 watts, depending on what? The current. So what the serial monitor is going to read now is going to read what? The current. So now we say, since you have asked, you have waited, you have asked what is the power in the what? In the circuit. So we are going to print out the power in the circuit. So we have to wait with this program, with this while loop. We have to wait with this while loop. Then we have to read the current what? In the circuit. We have to read the current in the circuit for us to get what? The power. So now read the current. The current is what? Any number you are going to put in the serial monitor. The current is equals to serial.pos float. And they have to declare what? P equals current times what? Times voltage. So now you have to declare it. So now P equals what? Current times what? Voltage. For the system to recognize this calculation, you have to declare. Look at my times. Look at the multiplication. This is what I use as my multiplication. This X, this X. It's not X, this is times. Okay, so that is it. And inverted comma, semicolon. Then serial.print in line, serial.print, message number 2, which is message number 2. The power in the circuit is what? The power in the circuit is serial.print in line P. So it will now print the power in the circuit for you. Any number it prints for you from this calculation, which is P, is what? Current times voltage. So if you put 4, it's going to do 4 times what? 12. And 4 times 12 is 48. If you put 2 times 12 is what? 24 watts. So that is what it's going to do for you. So let's jump in and see how this thing works. So let's upload. Okay, very good. Now I'm gonna remove this so that my serial monitor will come up. I'm going to open my serial monitor. Okay, sorry. Okay, very good. What is the power in the circuit? Now it's waiting for me to give him the current so that he can now tell me the power in the circuit. So now I give him a current of what? A current of 2. Okay, I give him a current of 2. Now he will now give me what? The power in the what? In the circuit. And I will now put enter. All right, enter. The power in the circuit is 24 watts. So what is the power in the circuit? It's waiting for me to give him the current again. Now I'm giving the current of 4. Then I click enter. It will now say the power in the circuit is what? Is 48. As very simple, as easy as what? As ABCD. Okay, so this is where we are going to end the story. And this is the end of the drill. And this is the end of the drill. This is the end of the drill. Okay. So at this junction, I believe, and that all things being equal ceteris paribus, I have done justice to all. If you don't understand it, you play it over and over again. Like a looping, you have to loop the tutorial. This tutorial number 23, you play it over and over and over and over again for you to understand it, for it to sink. You know, one thing with this coding and this Arduino C++ programming language, cheap programming, is like I told you earlier before. The more you code, the more you understand. Just like an English language. To a Chinese man, it's like a rocket science because he has not, in his background, maybe they're not speaking English, they're speaking Chinese, and he find it difficult to understand, to comprehend. It's the same thing. So, but once the same Chinese man, gets to a place where he has no option but to listen to the English language, speak the English language, he will be forced to what? To learn it. And before you know it, you see his tongue will start changing and will start speaking it. So that is one thing. So if you run away from it, so you see, proximity is the key. You cannot run away from it. You have to be very close to it. You have to listen to it. You have to read it. You have to write it for you to what? To understand it, for you to become a pro in programming language. It's called a language. So you must say language. The language has, you must read it. You must hear it. You must know how to write it before you can say, before you will say, I know, I understand this language. You read, you write, you speak, you hear. You read, you write, you speak, you hear. These 4 things. You read it, you write it, you speak it, you hear it before you can say, I'm very good in English. I understand English. So before you can say, I understand C++, Arduino coding, you have to read it, you have to write it, you have to hear it, you have to speak it, you have to code it. So that is it. So there is no two ways about it. Force yourself to understand it. Force yourself to know it. And that is the key. So the more you code, the more you listen to different tutorials. Nobody gets it all with one tutorial. So I will encourage you to go to YouTube and do yourself a favor by getting into other people's tutorial on how to read from the serial monitor, understanding how to read from the serial monitor. Like I told you, you have to do what? You have 3 things you have to do in reading from serial monitor. That is it. You have 3 things you have to do. And those 3 things, I've been mentioning it. It's like a guiding principle. You have to ask, you have to wait, you have to read it. I don't know how I can explain it again. I don't have much in my notes with me here. That is the only way I can be able to explain it for you. I'm trying to find out the simplest way to explain this, understanding how to read from serial monitor, how to read numbers, and have to read your serial port, have to make your serial port to interface with you. There's no other simple explanation than to ask for it, to wait for it, and to read it. So that is it. You ask for it, you wait for it, and you read it. Very simple. So this is the end of the drill. I'm your one and only Mr. Great here in Mr. Great Tech Review Studio, bringing to you the most excellent Arduino Uno tutorial on our tutorial number 23, and this is where we call it a day. Like and share so that others will benefit. And remember that you cannot do this program without having this one. I introduced it in the beginning of this program, your most excellent Arduino tutorial kit. So do yourself a favor to get it, so that in the next tutorial, on tutorial number 24, you leave me to come up with whatever I'm going to come up with. So expect to see something new or something close to what you have done today. And that is it. This is where we'll call it a day. Thank you very much. God bless you. See you in the next tutorial. Like and share this program. God bless you.